That is a huge part of season 3 that I hope people dig what I'm telling you, because this is like deep stuff that you won't hear until you actually like see the show. So I hope people let your imaginations run wild.
Is this a drill or something?
Star Wars Rebels premieres Saturday, September 24th at 8:30 or on any Disney XD platform.
I'm very excited to have Freddie Prinze Jr. himself today on the show, the voice of Kanan Jarrus and the man who claims to be the Bendu, your friendu. You did say that to me once.
I did.
You said you're a Bendu, and that really broke me up inside because I'm aware of the Bendu from the expanded universe. Bendu aren't something new, so it's like, all right, they're into numerology. They've got this more like it's almost Buddhist philosophy before the Jedi.
Do you remember are you old enough to have seen the Neverending Story?
Of course, the
Do you
horrible
remember
dog
the rock
dragon.
fighter?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's sort of like the inspiration visually for this character, this sort of being that has been there forever. Now, I can't say too much about who our Bendu is because he's so cool that I want those to be special. But in the trailer, he says, the Jedi and Sith, the light and the dark.
Yeah.
I'm the one in the middle.
Yes.
And that's what I texted to you because that's me in real life, man. When I say the Bendu, I'm the one in the middle. Because I am. I'm not perfect, man. I'm not the nicest guy. I'm not the meanest guy. I give what I get. And that's what, I can say this. That's what Bendu teaches to Kanan in part, is a lot of what we come in contact with is empty. It's simply the Force. It's what we bring to the relationship that is reflected back on us. If we bring fear, if we bring anger, that's what's going to be returned to us.
Dude.
And that's the middle, right? So,
but that's like, what is it? The old expanded universe Potentium, where they used to like Kyle Katarn could use Force lightning, but he never did it through anger. Therefore, it was a Force power, but it wasn't. It didn't have to come from anger. So he's like, I use Force lightning for good, but it's zero
and it's a
flat
different
emotion.
representation of it. So a lot of these sort of like epic creatures and things that you'll see, they are the Force, and they're not good or bad. So they simply reflect what these other people fighting the fight bring to the table. And that is a huge part of season 3 that I hope people dig what I'm telling you, because this is like deep stuff that you won't hear until you actually like see the show. So I hope people let your imaginations run wild, because what they animated and what they wrote and the representation that you get, it's next level.
In regards to strong female characters, not Hera though, I'm a big fan of her and we fleshed her out a lot, but it feels like season 3 is pushing the Sabine narrative, and I'm
so glad you're asking this. Go.
All right. Sabine, it's a pivotal time for Mandalorians because they tried the peace culture in New Canon. It didn't work with Duchess Satine or whatever. So then you've got Death Watch, who were kind of reviled, right? But the war culture is no longer revered. Now with the Empire taking over and Mandalorians joining the Empire, the Protectors who protected culture are back. Clan Ren of House Vizsla suddenly is coming in, and Sabine has the Darksaber, which to me, back in the day would kill Jedi with blades. They were known to be that fierce, and they need a strong leader. I feel like Sabine needs to be Mandalore, and I know that it's just something I keep thinking about, but the warrior culture, the throwbacks to the Thrawn art with the pictures of Mandalore from the Clone Wars, I feel like Dave's telling me that they need somebody to really herald that, and so this is the time that war, it's inevitable, and the Mandalorians need to rally behind someone, and Sabine is that person, the focal point of the culture and everything, and the culmination of that. So that's my it's not even a question.
But listen, you're your knowledge of the Star Wars universe and of the Mandalorians and who potentially Sabine could be is all kinds of on point. I have waited for this. Dave told us about this storyline like in episode 3 of season 1. And he talked to Tia about how Sabine was going to be hated by fans in season 1, just like Ahsoka was hated by fans when she came in. And Tia was like very, big-eyed, and he started talking about who this character would become. And I was sitting 2 seats away. Taylor was between us. He always has Taylor next to Tia because their characters play off each other a lot, and their attitudes are the characters. They just talk trash to each other all the time. And so I just sit back, and I'm watching him describe this girl and the necessity to sacrifice who she is now for who she must become. And he never mentioned the word Darksaber. So when he did that first conversation, and he didn't mention it till 2 years later, that first conversation I heard, I literally was like, oh my God, and started going down that road you're going down. Dave has said this storyline, this season is going to be more Mandalorian centric, is going to focus more on their culture and their history. And you're right, they do need a leader. Mandalore to me is very Game of Thrones-ish, and I think you'll see a definite struggle for power regardless of who's wielding the Darksaber. And not only did they kill Jedi with that blade, I think Mandalorians would be willing to kill other Mandalorians if they wanted that blade. So as you see the relationship between Ezra and Kanan continue to develop, and it has its sort of ups and downs, Sabine is carrying a lightsaber, a Darksaber. There's no one better equipped to teach her how to use it than the Jedi Knight that she's got to her left. And so you'll start to see this very beautiful, again, if you watch Zaitoichi, you will see this relationship before people who watch the show see it. You'll see him sort of take on a new student and have to teach blind from scratch.
Oh, wow.
And start over completely. And it's a very touching and tender storyline. And she has to be prepared for whatever is in store for her character, and that character's future. And Kanan and Ezra will be damned if they're going to let her die on their watch. So you'll see this sort of triumvirate of sabers, and 2 of them are desperately trying to teach the third how to become the best she can be with that blade. And maybe a little more love from the birthday boy Kevin McKidd as Fen Rao to sort of show Sabine the old ways as well.
Yeah, he's actually really cool as Fen Rao, and I saw.
Wait till you see what that we have in store with that character.
Really?
Just wait.
I saw him in the comics, and I was like, "That's
cool." An actor like that and give him nothing to do, bro. Just wait. It's not the Kevin McKidd show, but damn, it should be.
We were sold Kanan as the most Kyle Katarn looking dude I've ever seen. I saw him and I went, it's Kyle. It's my new Kyle. It's new canon Kyle. I'll take that.
That's right.
But you see like the nods with the shoulder guards of the outfit, but whatever. But then when he came around, he didn't feel much of a cowboy. I read A New Dawn, and he was a broken man who was looking for purpose. Yeah. And then he's got it with Ezra, but now in season 2 with his blinding, which I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he can see through the Force and he's learning how to do so. He feels more of a samurai, if anything. He's shifted. There's this shift in his personality where he's going to have to it's like sink or swim now. He can't see, and he realizes like he became a knight, but like at this point, it feels like he's going to have to be the blind samurai teacher, or otherwise he's going to fail Ezra even worse than he could possibly imagine. 2 holocrons are going to have sex.
Season 1 was, we're kicking ass and doing things that no one has really seen the rebellion do when they were at that state. and then season 2 is, yeah, you're not that good. And we get annihilated, and I get blinded, and my last words to Hera are, I'll see you soon, and I'm never gonna see her again. But your premonition of how Kanan will see is a safe bet. I think the Force can be used the way a bat uses sonar or a submarine uses sonar.
Sure, there's been previous Jedi that have done that.
I also think there's a way to sense emotion, and emotion sort of gives you a spatial awareness as you sense other things and creatures and beings and living beings around you. So I think there's multiple ways to interpret it. I think yours is really, really accurate, but our show is very much about, back to that word, is about balance. And stylistically, I mean, you saw a little bit of your favorite hero stylistically in our season 3 trailer.
Right.
So stylistically,
yes,
we get some cool shoulder piece while you see awesome Shadowcasters. Hey, a cool story about that. I don't know if anybody knows this. Dave asked the original creator of that image to render the image for our show in that episode. And so, she was awesome enough to say yes. And so that rendering you saw fly by is the original artistic creator of that ship's rendering.
Get out of
she
town.
did it for Dave. No, and I don't think anybody knows that. So that's something that is very important to Dave, to pay tribute to everyone in the Star Wars world that he has respect for and love for, whether it was somebody who drew a picture for a board game, or someone who voiced an epic character that once walked through one of the trilogies. So he's very much about paying respect and tribute to all the inspirations of Star Wars. Kanan is, and I know this because Dave and I don't have a ton in common. We both played Warcraft. We both have studied World War II like a mug because my grandfather was in it, and he's had a passion for World War II aircraft since he was a kid. So I know the Navy side of it. He knows the Air Force side of it.
Yeah.
And Japanese cinema. I grew up watching samurai films. I liked it more than Kung Fu. Karate was better than Kung Fu. The squared stance, no good. You want to have the staggered stance. That's karate, staggered stance. So I was always about Japan martial arts over China martial arts. I was always about Japanese cinema over Chinese cinema. So I nerd out on that stuff. I'm going to the ranch in a couple weeks to go meet a lot of the people behind the scenes of Star Wars Rebels, and I'm staying in the Kurosawa apartment because it's like that's my passion, and that's Dave's too. So Kanan is Zaitoichi. He was Zaitoichi before he was blind. He was Zaitoichi as he is blind, and he will be Zaitoichi as Zaitoichi's future progressed. So if people kind of want to see some of Kanan's past, present, and future, I would really recommend that storyline to anyone out there. It doesn't matter if it's subtitled. There's plenty of movies with subtitles that suck. Don't watch them, okay?
Yeah.
I'm forced to. You don't have to. This ain't one of them. It's a great film, and it's the inspiration for a lot of what George Lucas put into the original trilogy and what the LucasArts team did in the original Clone Wars animated series. And it's because of movies like that. So if you're a Star Wars fan, educate yourself. Be an active learner, not a passive learner. Don't let, although this is passive because I'm bringing the education to you, but be active and seek it out and watch these movies and see what inspired the characters that you think inspired Kanan. Like, before you think he's Ram Koda, look at what inspired Ram Koda, and that'll be sort of the key that unlocks who Kanan is. Because that's what the creators had in mind. Go ahead.
You just Ram coded. I didn't even say those words. That is so.
I've heard a lot of people say it on Twitter, and I never want to be the person who says your interpretation of the art is wrong. Like, because it can't be. It's art. Like, I can't be wrong and you can't be wrong. It's your taste is the same as mine or different. But my thing was, yes, that's awesome, but let's look at the inspiration for that, because that wasn't the inception of the blind seraphim warrior. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I wanted to take it back further to where the actual inspiration was, and hopefully some people looked that up and didn't watch the Rutger Hauer Blind Fury movie, but actually went and watched the Japanese one.
Yeah,
and if you haven't seen the Rutger Hauer one, it's really funny for all the wrong reasons.
Maul should be dead, which Filoni said. Ahsoka should be dead, which Filoni said. Again, she's got great samurai roots. I love her design. I love her as an original character, but he seems to be saying, I've got to appease the fans, and he's doing these loops where it seems to be strange. I mean, it seems almost to the point of regression, because he just said recently that Vader's not going to be prominent. I love Thrawn. Thrawn's my jam. I made theory videos about Thrawn coming back. Like, I'm so happy, but how did Jedi face something? And I know Thrawn's great, but like, you killed the Grand Inquisitor first, your lovely wife. I don't want to speak ill of her, but she was only a numbered Inquisitor that you faced. There was two, like, I was like, as soon as I heard 5 and 7, I'm like, they got no hope. They don't even have a name. The Grand Inquisitor.
I feel you on that.
I was like, they're screwed. Like, get a Starkiller in there or something. Or like, oh, Vader's here. The stakes are bigger. And then Filoni's like, I don't want to cheapen Vader by putting him in, so therefore he won't be. Like, these weird things where he's like, I'll pull people back, and there's these echoes and loops. That seems very strange to me. I don't know what to expect.
I would say, the short answer is trust Dave. The longer answer, without ruining things, and we can start with Ahsoka. The Ahsoka story has been a plan for a very, very, very long time. From her inception and the hatred of that character to the earned respect and love and adoration that character has today, to her, what people assumed would be her death, although I would say that the logical side of your brain should be trusted more as to whether she's alive or dead than the creative side, because you saw her walking and moving. But if you believe that there was a plan for her after Clone Wars, then I would say you could believe there is a plan for her post-Rebels. And whether that's before or after or whatever is not information that I have, but I would trust that these balls have been rolling for quite some time, as that 1.5 year long negotiation Disney had with LucasArts existed. As far as
wow.
Yeah, as far as Vader goes, that's a character that he holds with such reverence. He will never overexpose him. In the wrestling business, when you have a guy who's at legendary status, they don't work every single week because it lessens the value of when they appear.
Gravitas, yeah.
This is the first 2 seasons were about teaching kids what the Force is, who the good guys are, who the bad guys are, to introduce a new generation.
Right.
We're on later. I wish we weren't on Saturday nights, but we're on later because the show is much more grown up, as our fans have grown up 2.5, 3 years now. And Star Wars always teaches hard adult lessons. Like, sorry kids, Obi-Wan dies. Like, I watched Star Wars, and when I saw Luke scream no, I wept, man.
Yeah.
I was a kid. But that was a real lesson that needed to be taught, and movies are too scared to teach it today because there's so many groups out there that'll write letters and be like, my kids cried the whole ride home. Like, yeah, man, that's called emotion.
Yeah, everybody wants to win.
Yeah, it was horrible. Yeah, everyone wants to jump rope without a jump rope so that nobody fails. It's like, yo, you might suck a jump rope. That's okay. But they freak out about that now. So I think our show has already gone down that road further than most cartoons. That's such a dirty word, but to me they're all cartoons. Yeah. And I love cartoons, but it's animation. But they took it next level in that already, and season 3 is an expansion on that, man. It's not just for kids. Remember, who wants the holocron more than Ezra in our finale? Who's the only person that wants the Sith holocron more than Ezra? Maul. So that's the storyline that will surround the Sith holocron and the information within it. But so the motivation on that holocron is more Maul-centric than Ezra-centric.
Yeah.
And I would think Yoda would be a person knowledgeable of this type of information.
Right.
And if he is, and bringing that holocron out is the goal, then you can sort of let the creative half of your mind take you on what that storyline would be.
So it happens, and I'm like, but wait, they're like smushing together. That doesn't make any sense. Like it's wild.
That's
man.
more. I would look at that as more visual representation of the Force than actual story. And this answer will come to you much sooner than later. When the first episode you see that image in, you're going to go, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this storyline. Holy crap, hurry up and get there. And it'll all make sense then. But I can't say any more on it without, giving it away.
Why do you guys interact with Maul? Why don't you just kill him? As soon as he was like, oh, check out my airlock, it's hot and you like it and whatever, cool. And I was like, this is wrong.
I can't see, bro.
But you can see through the Force. You can see through the Force.
You don't know what he can see yet. You don't know what he can see yet. And when you see why we're dealing with Maul, we're in a position where we have no choice.
That's what I would hope.
It's not, there is no more, trust me, Kanan. All right. There's no more of that. Like, I trusted you. He took my sight. Ezra feels horrible about that, believe me. So there's no more trusting Maul. So when you see us with him, it's because we have to be. And when you see the reason why we have to be, you'll be like, oh, yeah, you have to be with him. There's no other option.
So what you just said, and I'm going to sum this up for everybody, as it's the culmination of the night, is Agent Callus's fulcrum. No, I'm sorry.
I would love it. I would love it. I've already heard a ton of people say that. To me, it can be Chewbacca. It can be Callus. It can be
anybody
Ahsoka back from the not dead.
Yeah.
When you guys see who it is, the payoff is money. And there's an actual. It's not just a reveal this time. There's an actual storyline. On that said character. So I think people will be very compelled by it. And since we're finishing up, don't forget we got Wedge love in there this year.
Yes.
You will love one episode in particular, and you will love the visual respect and love that Dave and that team put into it. And I think it's like episode 6 of season 3, and you'll know the one I'm talking about when you see it.
Yeah.
You already know the one I'm talking about, and you'll see something that I think Star Wars fans have been waiting to see for a very, very long time, and they're finally going to get to see it. And I think it's going to be awesome. And as a fan, I can't wait for it. I know people are going to mark out, but that's a wrestling term, mark out, freak out and go bananas for it. And just know that it's in good hands, and they're not mine. They're Dave Filoni's, and he's all over it, man. And I know Disney loves him, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him directing a movie in the very near future for them, because they really respect him. They know he's talented. He's George's protege, for crying out loud, and he's not just a visual guy.
Yeah.
His ability to communicate to actors and pull performances out of people who maybe didn't have that performance on the first take and maybe didn't think they had it in him at all. His ability to do that will make him very artist friendly, and his knowledge of the technology will make the budget people very happy, because he can work quickly, and he's one of the best storytellers that Star Wars could have, so he should direct a friggin' movie.
Ahsoka standalone movie. I'd love it. I think that's.
Ooh, I would love that too.
Money.
Why not a Kanan standalone movie?
Dude, Kanan's my favorite by far. He's the cowboy Jedi. No, honestly. And I've seen the pictures where they like superimpose your head on the Kanan. I'm like, that works. I will take that for sure.
I'd have to get that weird goatee.
Yeah, I don't think I like that, but the rest of it is good. That's cool. Just to finish up, I want to say thank you so much with how giving that you've been, and for anybody who wants to keep up to date with you, whether it is First Impressions, your TV show, your cookbooks, or your other projects, where is the best place for them to find you?
People can hit me on Twitter. That's I think it's real FPJR.
All this will be on screen. I'll put it on screen. So
good.
Your cookbook's going to be on screen.
Set up most of these accounts, really, so I don't know what they're called.
Your social accounts will be on screen for you.
Yeah, I mean, hit me on Twitch. I play video games, and I'm not a pro gamer. I really try to be communicative and try to tell old school stories. Growing up as a weirdo kid and old school stories from this business. So if you like that kind of stuff, you like video games, check me on Twitch. I Instagram a lot of food stuff. I started doing a lot of like videos as far as like my Jedi workout and boxing and jiu-jitsu. I got the jiu-jitsu cam coming where you can see me get armbarred by one of the black belts that I roll with. I'm gonna put those on Instagram soon, so you can follow me on those things. I don't have Facebook or Snapchat, but I have Twitter, Instagram, and I twitch it up pretty often. And you can catch me on with Dash. You can catch me on other podcasts too. I try to show Star Wars love to the Star Wars centric podcast more than anyone else, and pro wrestling too, because I like pro wrestling. But yeah, man, so check me out on that stuff. And like I said, I really try to communicate. So if you don't follow me on Twitter and I made you laugh and you like some of the stuff I said, or you hated some of the stuff I said, hit me up on Twitter and we can hash it out, man.
Sounds awesome. That's how I found Freddie Prinze, just so people know I actually did reach out to you. And I think we spoke briefly and then suddenly we're doing an interview. So always, like you said, you are the Bendu in real life, but also everybody's friend dude. No, honestly, he's such a friendly dude. So I think that's the best. As I said, it'll be linked in the description below, but thank you very much, my friend.
No, man, it was a pleasure, and we'll have to do it again when the show gets up and rolling. And some of those questions that you've asked, you can now, some will be answered, and some you'll at least be on the path, and you'll have new theories forming. Some of your old theories you'll think are confirmed. Some of them you'll think have been blown up, and we can talk about all of them and have fun during season 3. I'd love to do it again with you.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, my pleasure.
If you want to stay up to date with the latest Star Wars videos on origins, games, and theories, don't forget to use those force powers of yours and hit subscribe. And hey, leave a comment below about what you want to see in future videos. It may just get covered. Thanks for watching, and may the force be with you. Always.